Things get faster the closer you get to the finish line. Time for someone with superpowers to step it up. Will it be the Ninja, Ishama of the West, the Zen Master, the Oklahoma Kid, the Hack Attack, or the one they call Hardware?
Oh, yeah. Don't you come off. Please don't come off.
Get ready for the League of Extraordinary Anglers today on the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail.
Snow and fishing lures. See, it's supposed to be sunshine, warm fishing lure.
Get your snowmobile suits on. We're going bass fishing.
Try and be tough today, you know, and block out all the snow and the wind and the cold.
How low does your heart rate go before you pass out?
I started with a layer of Under Armour, then I got my fleece underwear over that. I got one of those big ones across my back. It's gonna be cold. Then I got a sweatshirt on, then I got a fleece over the top of that.
Make sure we really want to go fishing today.
I got 2 face masks, 3 of them knit hats like what you got. I got 4 beanies.
There are no tricks to staying warm in these conditions. You just get cold.
This is a classic Bassmaster Tour event right here, baby.
Vortex Tour,
This is what it's all about.
Vortex,
The winter
right
tour.
here it is.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I think I'm just going to get my thong out and go lay out on the dock.
The tail end of winter smacked the Citgo Bassmaster Tour anglers on day 1 of their Lake Norman stop.
Good God.
But the pros know something about the snow.
Historically, anytime it snows, the fish just go crazy.
It was Kitaro Kiriyama who would prove Rick Clunn to be right. He caught 19.7 to take the first day lead, followed by Skeet Reese using his good day to vault to the top of the Angler of the Year race.
I don't have a clue what's going to happen today. I didn't know I was going to catch what I caught yesterday, so we're going to go fish hard today and hopefully catch them. If you give me 12 pounds today, I will be happy.
Day 2 has a completely different look to it. Sunny, bright, and clear, which means a whole new set of challenges for these anglers on a day when you really need to bear down. Kiriyama would find his own act hard to follow, but he fished well enough on day 2, 8 pounds, 5 ounces. That would only drop him to 2nd place. For Skeet Reese, things would not go as well. A 14-pound deficit from day 1. He doesn't make the top 12, and maybe just as important, he's knocked from the top of the Angler of the Year points race. Replaced by the guy who caught him best on day 2. It's Tar Heel Marty Stone, 16 pounds, 12 ounces, on a day when most found the going tough. Stone's now 2nd in the tournament, and he's in a great position to shoot for one of bass fishing's holy grails.
To me, Angler of the Year is the greatest title in this sport. I make no bones about it. I've said that when my career started. You look at the Angler of the Year list that we have right now, it's either legends or soon-to-be legends on that. Would I love to be a part of that group? You dang skippy.
But the big move on Friday was made by Mr. Hardware himself, Jason Quinn, who's counting on some home cooking to get the job done this week. A 2-day total of almost 30 pounds. And we now know there could be some fireworks on these last 2 days.
You know, you can pattern fish this lake. You can move around, you can change up every day to catch them.
It's the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail, and on the trail this year, there are 6 regular season tour events, and we are right smack dab in the middle of event number 5 of Tommy Sanders along with Jerry McInnes. And it's at this point, Jerry, that everything gets ridiculously important. Every fish, every cast almost.
Just your career, that's all that's on the line. Boy, I should say it is important right now, man. We've got into to a top 12, a close top 12. This is going to be a lot of fun seeing who makes the final 6. It might be Rick Clunn. We haven't seen him for a long time in a final 6. And, of course, we got Greg Hackney in there, too. Greg Hackney's really having an off year. Yeah, sure.
He's having a great career. We have got a great final 2 days of this tournament coming up. These guys are also stressing about a number of things, including Angler of the Year points. They're trying to make Angler of the Year points to get into not 1, but 2 classics, also to get into the E50 so they can continue their season. And we look at the top of that Angler of the Year race. It's been shaken up today. Marty Stone has knocked Skeet Reese out. Skeet came in with the lead coming into this
guess how he got that lead. Skeet loaned him a lure. He said, "Here, Marty, this will help you." It did. It knocked Skeet off the top run, put Marty up there on top. I wouldn't do that by Skeet.
Oh, my God. He's kicking himself just a little bit. We'll take you out to Lake Norman right now, just up the road from Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey, we had the Classic last summer just down the road at Lake Wiley. Both of these lakes on the Catawba River. Lake Norman is the newest of the 2 lakes. Only built back in 1967. A lot of boat docks, and that suits this guy just fine. This is the hometown favorite, Jason Quinn.
And our fish are in transition more than I've seen them in a long time. They're moving up and down the banks, in and out of deep water, looking for a place to spawn, obviously. And you're going to see anglers catch a fish in a spot where an hour earlier there probably wasn't even a fish there. So we're going to see them either fishing spots over and over again or moving around an awful lot. Jason is going to be on the move around a lot kick, I believe.
I think I want to lost some time, but that's keep. That'll cover winning spots. That'll get started.
Lots of interesting things on day 3. Here's one of them. Check this out. 3 rookies made the cut to 12, and not just any 3 rookies. These are the top 3 contenders for our Toyota Rookie of the Year award, including this guy right here, Greg Gutierrez of Red Bluff, California.
Tommy, you'd like to be a rookie?
I'd love to be a rookie, but I'm too old, unfortunately.
Hey, I'm intimidated when I see Rick Clunn and Larry Nixon and Zell rolling in the parking lot. No telling what these youngsters are feeling out there competing against them. They had a rough time of it on day 3, but still, they really represented the rookies well by making the final 12. Hey, Greg Hackney was a rookie last year. He didn't seem that way. He never felt like a rookie to me. These guys are still young, got a ways to go.
Okay, they'll get more polish. Watch these names in the future. Unfortunately, none of our rookies made the cut on day number 3. Look who else didn't make the cut. Marty Stone only had 1 fish on this day. He doesn't make it either.
Should have borrowed another lure.
Should have hit Skeet Reese one more time. Stone stays on top of the Citgo Angler of the Year race, loses a few points. Another swap out, though, 3 for 4. Terry Scroggins moves down to 4, and moving up, the man from Oklahoma.
Bam! 12 pounds and 15 ounces, and Edwin Evers is right where he needs to be. Top of the food chain, baby.
Evers, a great day he is in. Rick Clunn, 8 pounds and 3 ounces. That's good enough. He's in the Super 6 as well. So is Greg Hackney. But a lot of these folks in the crowd here to see their hometown favorite, Jason Quinn.
Watch those digits. 9 pounds and 12 ounces, and Jason Quinn moves back to the top of the leaderboard.
Oh, folks, if we got a good group in the final 6, and you don't see much daylight in between those names either.
And you know what? On the final day, you will probably not see any giant bass. But, Tommy, if you don't catch a limit, you don't have a prayer.
So who's it going to be? The Ninja? The Zen Master? The Shama of the West? The Oklahoma Kid? Could it be the Hack Attack? Or is the man to beat Hardware?
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Citgo and in part by Cialis, Mercury Marine, and by Anheuser-Busch.
The Bassmasters haven't been here to Lake Norman, just up the road from Charlotte, North Carolina, since 1994. This is it, the final day on Lake Norman. There's your leader right there, the local favorite, Jason Quinn. He guides here on Lake Norman. He lives down at Lake Wiley, where they had the Classic last summer. And Jason Quinn had high hopes for winning that Classic there. Unfortunately, he finished down in the pack, about 6th place. So he would like to get a little measure of revenge here.
And we're looking at a track here, which, Tommy, doesn't mean a whole lot, because wherever he stops, he won't stop there long. He'll make a couple of casts and then skidoo. He's off to the next place.
I have a few boats following us today, so we'll have to take in the boat wakes into consideration when I'm pulling into these places. I can see that right now.
Always the guys have nothing but nice things to say about the groups of boats that follow them around, but as fast as he's moving, he never lets the stuff settle down. It's got to affect the fishing a little bit.
Well, those guys sitting out there in the spectator boats better be ready to crank up, because Jason won't make but 2 casts, 3 casts, 4 casts, and he's going to crank up and be gone, be out of there. It's amazing what is happening right here. And I tell you what, I love this kid. He's like a very quiet, calmer Iconelli.
Yeah.
And you know, him and Iconelli are those are the kind of guys this sport really needs, I think anyway. That's just me talking, Tommy. But Jason has been kind of in the middle of the pack as far as the level of fishermen goes. If he ever wins one of these and breaks into the next level, you better look out.
He knows one thing, he's going to have a limit to win this thing today. He said yesterday after the weigh-in, it's going to be tough today. He says there's 5 pounds separating these. Oh, boy, that hurt him right there. He's looking for 5 fish today, and he says it's so tough today that, hey, 5 pounds over the guy in 4th place is significant on a day like today. Let's take a look at Edwin Evers. He's not going all that far either, about the same distance that Jason. Jason's traveling, but he's not making as many stops.
He's going up Reed's Creek, and I keep thinking back about that fish that Jason just lost. But Jason knows the lake so well, he will make up for that. And Edwin is not covering as much property as Jason is, but he's going to fish it over and over and over again. He's doing kind of the same thing, but he's just not traveling as many miles.
Man, I thought there was a better fish. I had it hooked in the gill plates. Why? At first, I had that fish hooked in the side. It was pulling. You know, it was pretty heavy when I was pulling on it. A little Kentucky. Got the morning started. I want to tell you right now, I'm going to get a bunch of backlashes today. I got such a light line on. I'm telling you, that's the only way I can do it, though, because I was breaking these suckers off just on hook set, you know.
Break them off so you go to lighter line?
Yeah, listen to this. He probably went from 15-pound test down to 10-pound test, and he did that where his cast might be longer, and he feels like his lure will swim in the water better on that lighter line. Your drag has to be perfect with the light line, or yes, you will break it off, and the light line does make you backlash a little bit more.
Yeah. Same jerkbait I got tied on from Clark Hill. I don't know why, I just picked it up this morning. I seen these boils out here deeper. Little fish, but we gotta get to 5 before we can do anything else.
Set at the top of the show. We haven't had Rick Clunn in a final since the last E50 last year, and you better believe we're watching him closely today. See right there?
Boy, we're all over him right now. I'm looking forward to spending the day with Rick. He's going 14 miles from the takeoff up into Monday Creek. And when he gets there, he's not like the other guys. He won't move around a whole lot.
Well, I'm pretty well going back to my first day of routine where I started here. I caught about 13 pounds in 2 passes. And then I just really started checking out a lot of other water and actually looking for more water. And if this area pays off, I can make a move. If it doesn't, then I'm gonna have to get fortunate, you know, and just bump into some other quality fish. Fish always have the final say. It's always the most interesting thing. It's one of my favorite arguments, and every time I get in conversation with PETA, is, you know, I don't make the final decision for the fish whether or not they participate, they do. And if they want to participate, they do. If they don't, they don't. And that's the nature of our sport.
One of a kind, Rick Clunn. Truly one of the legends in our sport for a lot of reasons.
He is a special man. You know, Tommy, you don't see Larry Bird playing anymore, or Hank Aaron, or Havlicek, but Rick Clunn is on their level in our sport. And we're all very privileged to be watching him compete, and compete very well, I might add. In fact, if he can put this fish in the boat, one that he caught out from underneath that dock, what a great start for him. You know, if we had 52 events a year, he would sign up for every one of them. We don't have that many, though, so he's satisfied to spend his off time at his farm in Missouri.
Hey, that's a monster first fish for Rick Clunn. We'll see if he can climb up the leaderboard. We'll also find out if Rick Clunn is voted the greatest angler of all time when we settle it this summer at the Bassmaster Classic. But we got a big tournament, lots of fishing left to go at Lake Norman. We'll be right back. So we are on the move on this, the final day of our Citgo Bassmaster Tour event on Lake Norman near Charlotte, North Carolina. Our leader when we started the day was Jason Quinn, the local favorite. He has been overtaken by Edwin Evers, but there is so much more fishing left. This is our first look at last year's Rookie of the Year, Greg Hackney.
And Greg is up Reed's Creek along with several of the anglers. And you know what? This is the kind of tournament I think Greg can excel in.
I'm gonna try to catch a big one on the jig right off this morning. It worked the first day, and this water's clearing up as the lake's falling, and I'm having to change every day because of that.
And Tommy, I said he could excel at this tournament because you need to catch a bunch of fish. You need to make sure you catch a limit, and Greg is pretty good at that. He can catch some big ones too, but he's really good at numbers.
That's kind of interesting because I hadn't caught one that shallow. I ain't even been coming up here every day. I kind of like that. It makes me feel a little better, you know, that because I hadn't even been fishing this.
Greg Hackney fishing with the Bassmasters for going on 4 years now. That's about 28 events. Now get this, out of those 28, he has had 16 top 10 finishes.
That is amazing, Tommy. It can't be true, though, because he's fishing with spinning tackle.
Well, you know.
Oh, hey, listen, he is great with spinning tackle. A number of our guys are. But said earlier, Greg is a guy who catches numbers of fish. When things are tough, he downsizes, goes to lighter line, a lighter bait, and uses spinning tackle.
Moving from Hackney now. So many pockets in this lake, so many boat docks, but this place is special to this man from out west, Ish Munro.
And there's not a lot of cover in this lake, so some of the guys have found crappie beds, are sunken Christmas trees, and I believe that's where Ish is right now.
There's actually, in between, if you can see that dock, and that dock, if you line them two up, there's a brush pile right there. Got him that time.
Ish Munro, 31 years old, 8 top 10 so far in his career. He's had a great career as well. He's looking really good in our Elite 50 standing so far this year.
You know, anytime you see a big dock like that with brush piles, you always want to make sure you fish around the area, because I'm pretty sure that there's more than just one brush pile in there.
Last time we had Ish Munro in our final 6 on the final day was a couple of years back in Clear Lake in California. There were fishing boat docks as well, but it didn't look much like this deal.
And is it too late, Tommy, for me to again state that we have an amazing cast of characters today? And I was thinking about that as we was watching Ish. You know, he's a young African-American from California, the only African-American on the pro side on the tour. We've got him today. Right here, we're looking at Jason Quinn, the only guy out there with jewelry and earrings and what have you.
That we know of.
We've got him today. And then, you know, on down the line, we got one of the oldest competitors and one of the best competitors in Rick Clunn. So what a gang we've got today.
Yeah, it really is a crew like out of the League of Superheroes in some sort of comic
I've never
book.
seen a field quite like this.
That's number 1. Decent size spotted bass. For some reason, I have not totally figured out. There's something to do with the contour change where this dock runs out. Them spotted bass hang right here in one corner of it. And you can always, I don't think I've ever been on this lake a day that I couldn't pull in here and catch a fish or two.
Again, Jason Quinn knows what he's talking about. For years and years, he's guided both on Lake Wiley and here on Lake Norman. He's been all over this place. And so this traveling fishing show that is Jason Quinn is up and moving again. He'll continue to do that all day long. Meanwhile, another man who has done some traveling this morning, Kitaro Kiriyama, is going a good number of miles, 25 miles to the north up the Catawba River into Lyle Creek. The last time we saw Kitaro in a Super 6 on a final day, an open event on the Columbia River up in Washington.
And Kitaro's looking for current and murky water. Remember last week we saw anglers fishing clear water, some fishing murky water, and a lot of guys just go crazy in that clear water, and Kitaro may be one of them. He wanted to find the murkier water. And I hear people say that maybe the fish don't see you as well in the off-color water. I don't believe that. I think they know when you're around regardless of watercolor, but they don't see your bait as well in the murkier water. And I think they will bite a little bit better when you surprise them with their bait. Kitaro needs some current today, though. They don't seem to be releasing any water from the dam, so the upper river is pretty dead.
Kiriyama thinks he's going to catch some more. He's got a batting average, though, of .262, so it's not a sure thing. Edwin Evers, 2 good fish in the boat already today. He's taken over the lead from Quinn.
Wait a minute. Look at the camera boat out. That's Takahiro. That's your classic champion out there with the camera boat.
He's got a good mark, doesn't he?
Come here.
I like dogs.
Talk about a man who's a player in the batting average category. Edwin Evers, 600 batting average coming in today, only second behind David Walker.
And he should get some extra points for footwork right here. That's pretty classy, running around that boat like that. Hey, folks, these guys are really fishing shallow. Edwin's going back, and there's Talk again. Edwin's going back and forth from a jig to his crankbait, but he's fishing in 2 or 3 feet of water.
That look like a cluster or what? Now I've got my drag real light because I'm using such light line because I keep busting them off the first couple days on my hook set. So I'm sticking them plenty good, but my drag's slipping and it's just making me try to jerk about 5 more times than I need to.
Jason Quinn still your leader, 1.5 pounds over Edwin Evers, but he is really moving. How much? You don't know the half of it. We're going to see when we come back. We'll also see why these docks are so important. Don't go away. The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail. This is the 5th of our 6 regular season events. Lake Norman in North Carolina. We started fishing in the snow on the first day of this tournament. And believe it or not, the conditions have gotten even tougher since then. Earlier today, we followed this man, Rick Clunn, out to his spot. Jason Quinn, who had the lead on day number 3. Still in the lead now, Edwin Evers in second. But 2 good fish for Clunn, and he's climbed into 5th place.
You don't know it was snowing, Tommy. You never got out of the motel
Watch
room.
TV. I know these things.
Hey, Rick doesn't do Florida very well. And it seems like every year, at least he has it the past couple of years, seems like every year, though, he gets behind in January when we're in Florida and then plays catch-up after that. And I'm talking about getting in line to make the classic, you know, good fish, Rick, good fish. You know, Chain of Lakes and Toho in Florida. He was just so-so, but boy, dynamite when we hit Gunnersville and Clark's Hill and now Norman. And he is very focused. Whenever you see his face, look how focused he is. Very, very disciplined. Picks an area, stays with it. He also stays with his style of fishing, throwing that little crankbait. Got another. Boy, he wanted some quality fish today, and he's doing that so far. And 90% of the time now, he's going to be throwing that crankbait. A little Lucky Craft bait that he designed, little shallow running square bill, appropriately called an RC. And Tommy, that's the bait that Skeet loaned to Marty that knocked him out of the top spot of the Angler of the Year race.
They're coming on.
That is an outrageous display of emotion by Rick Clunn standards. He's catching quality fish today. The man is moving up the leaderboard. Edwin Evers, the man from the momentum on day number 3. He had the biggest stringer of fish yesterday. We've seen Edwin in action today, catching him on the jerkbait. Now he's got the jig in hand.
And about that jig, this just happens to be, well, you know, I said a minute ago that Skeet Reese loaned Marty Stone his lure. Well, Brian Snowden, boy, good fish right there out from under that dock. Brian Snowden, another one of the competitors, hand-tied that jig for Edwin. Got a lot of camaraderie going on, don't we?
Absolutely. Evers with the lead now. You don't think Greg Hackney knows exactly what's going down at the end of his line. Take a look at this.
Oh, God. God, don't come off, baby. Don't come off.
I am telling you, when Greg looked at the camera a minute ago when that fish pecked on his bait and he nodded twice as if to say, here we go. That was absolutely priceless. And I kidded a little bit about his spinning tackle, and kidding is exactly what I was doing. Greg is very good with that. And a guy that is good with his spinning tackle would get a nice little light bait into an unusual place and be an asset to him.
Oh, look at there. Look at there.
That's the one right there.
That will move the Hack Attack into a tie for 3rd place with Jason Quinn. And so far, no one's even hinted at running away with this thing. The only man you can count on doing all the running today is Jason Quinn. That is from spot to spot.
Tommy, I'm counting just 1 fish for Jason this morning. We're talking about a guy that in the first days was talking about maybe 20 keepers, 15 keepers. He's caught 1 fish, and I wonder if he's given any thought to that fish that he lost right off the bat. I hope not, because here we go. Yeah. Maybe Jason's back on the ball now, but that 1 fish could bother him for a while.
That'll work. Number 2 anyway.
That's a 2nd keeper for Jason Quinn. That baby is going in the box, and you better believe he is going to be up and out of there in a matter of seconds. Jason Quinn is running his run-and-shoot offense today like no one else we've seen so far this year. Take a look at his track out there on Lake Norman. 90 minutes of fishing. He's hit 11 spots, so not even counting run time. That's less than 10 minutes a spot.
Bam, away goes Jason. You know what he's thinking? I'll hit so doggone many boat docks that those fish that are moving will surely have moved up on 1. That's exactly what his plan is. It's working pretty good so far. When they get there, a lot of the guys are throwing these little shallow running crankbaits. I always show you a crankbait, Tommy, that's got a big bill on it, and you know, the last 3 or 4 shows, that's what it's been about. These guys are throwing crankbaits that aren't going any deeper than about, 2 to maybe 3, maybe 4 foot deep, and you get up on the bank and there's not a lot of cover. The only cover these fish have to go far are the boat docks and the shade around the boat docks. That's exactly what will stop these fish. And it may just be one fish laying by one of those poles, and you hit it, you're probably going to catch the fish. If you don't catch him, get out of there.
All right, this dock probably looks familiar. Jason's already been there today. This is the place he said, I always catch a good spot here. Years and years of coming to Lake Norman.
He'll probably fish it again before the day's over.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a keeper. That'll work.
All right.
That'll work. That's number 3. Spotted bass. Right now, it's about 9:30. We've got 3 in the boat. Fishing's a little tough this morning. Slick calm. We had one good bite this morning. We don't know what it was, but I'm pretty sure it was a big largemouth. I broke her off. Something I never do, but it's one of those things that happens. But the wind is starting to get up right now. I think it's supposed to blow 5 to 10. That wind will get up, that fish will get active. And we can go to catch them and catch some good ones.
Jason Quinn looking in better shape at this point. Back to Greg Hackney. Jerry said it earlier, that light line has sort of been his weapon today, but sometimes when you live by the sword.
That was my fault. I jerked way too hard. Boy, I just screwed up big time because I feel like that was a really good one. I seen that line change and I was like, why did I do that? I just told myself a while ago, do not jerk. We sitting up here thinking not to do that. That's what pisses me off. And that was my last 16-pound head. 8-pound test, you know, 200-pound guy that just.
If you remember Santee Cooper last year, you know that Greg Hackney does not like to lose fish in that way. Coming up, we're going to look at the E50s. Who's standing good in that? Who needs to do some work to get to that Elite 50? And Greg Hackney, not the only guy losing fish. You can count on that. The ball! Oh! Citgo Bassmaster Tour final day on Lake Norman. The lead has been retaken by the man who started the day with it, Jason Quinn, the local favorite. And now we're going to take you out to the man who has won a record 4 Citgo Bassmaster Classic events, the legend Rick Clunn.
The real key to stretches like this is being able to let them rest just briefly, and then the fish will kind of replenish. But really, there's 3 docks here that's key. So my presence is probably keeping more fish from moving up.
Boy, I've wondered about that. I know those fish are so shallow that they have to be spooky, so you have to be careful with your boat. There's another keeper from Rick, possibly. And again, he is going around and around in a circle, trying to really center on 2 or 3 docks and 1 bank that's got a lot of rock on it.
Rick Clunn keeping up that momentum. He had a strong finish last year, and it's continued on.
Rick, I tell you what, you're having such a great year, but you were just a couple of fish away from having a great year last year. You lost them, so, man, this is a game of inches, isn't it?
Well, it is, and especially when you're not in the, you know, fishing up to the level you should be, then those little inches even mean more than they do normally. If you're really fishing at your peak performance, then you can make some inch mistakes and still do very well. So I've got to get my performance back to that peak level so those inches don't make that big a difference.
Now, we'd be talking about momentum here if it wasn't for the fact that fish don't know anything about momentum, Rick, but and you've got something going on.
I definitely, there's momentum as far as the angler's concerned. It's just like in football, you know, the other team fumbles and you recover the ball and you get a momentum, and the other team loses it. Well, in this sport, a lot of times the biggest momentum I see is when you get an opportunity for a big fish, you put him in a boat, and boy, you just get pumped, and it's like you get on a roll. But if you lose him, then it's just like in a football when you lost a fumble. You've lost, and it takes a time to recover.
On our constantly changing leaderboard, Rick Clunn holds down 2nd place. Now over to 3rd place, Edwin Evers.
Hey, buddy. How are you? Them are a little more forward than the other dogs we've been dealing with today, aren't they? Dang, my drag's loose. I gotta tighten that stuff up. All right. Not big, but I'm gonna take them. It's all about getting 5. I'm winding and ain't reeling nothing in because my drag's so loose. I gotta do it that way, because if I don't, I bust my line every time. If I crank that sucker down, I gotta tighten it just a little bit more.
Hey, everyone's found his audience, hasn't he?
His drag may be messed up, but he's got the dogs lined out.
We got to line out some other stuff real quickly here. Our winner in the non-boater category from day 3, Jim Short of Maryland, the former fighter pilot, 49 pounds, 13 ounces, wins a prize package including a boat, $38,000. And all these guys, I guarantee you, are thinking about qualifying for the Elite 50. It is so important. And basically, we're taking to the Elite 50 the top 20 money winners of all time and the top 27 guys in the last 3 years' points who aren't otherwise qualified. That race is tied as well.
And you can look at the list here, and there's somebody that is not on the list that's going to line things up and make it off of Table Rock. Somebody who thinks he is locked in is going to blow it and fall out at Table Rock. So, wow, what a deal.
A lot more shuffle left in this E50 race. The man on the bubble right now, Dean Rojas, but as Jerry says, that's going to change. Another guy who's thinking about it, he's on the lake right now, Jason Quinn.
The way I got it figured up, I need about a top 40 and finish in the points to make it to the Elite 50s with what I've got now. I need about a top 20 at Table Rock, and that ought to put me right in there close to making the Classic and qualifying for the Elite 50s. We'll just have to wait and see. The good thing is I got 10 bonus points, 5 from the second day and 5 from yesterday for leading. You get bonus points for leading each day. So those always help. So I need to win it to get all them points. There's a good one. There we go. Now, getting there. That's number 4. That's number 4. That fish was in exactly 1.8 feet of water.
All right, Jason Quinn still with the slim lead. Now, we saw him catch the fish earlier, but otherwise he's not gotten much going today. Munro.
That's all. Oh! I haven't broke a fish off all week, and that was a big one. Oh! God, and that brush pile. Oh! Oh! Beep, 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 beep. Ah! Then there's the golly gee willikers. Oh. Gosh, dang it, why'd I check that? How stupid can you be, Edwin? Golly.
Well, we see it happen in our tournaments. No one knows why, just a little short outbreak of missed fish. Back over to Rick Clunn.
That was the kind I needed, too. Damn it.
Wow, everybody seems to be missing fish, and I don't know exactly what to say about Rick missing that last fish, except you can tell by his reaction that he really wants this.
Damn it! That was another one just like that last one. What are they doing? I never lose that kind of fish. They're going back into that dang nippity crap again. Huh. Strange. This time they should be biting better right now, not going back into that nippity mode.
No doubt about it, there will be more bites, big ones as well. We have had some tight tournaments so far this year on the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail, but none more tight than this one. Stick around.
the Citgo Bass Insider.
Lake Norman has served up a lot of changes during this event, but none can compare to the drastic change the lake has undergone in the last decade. How drastic? Look back to 1994 when Peter Thilveros won the Citgo Bassmaster Tour event with a 4-day total of 23 pounds 4 ounces, one of the lowest weight events in Bassmaster history, a weight Kotaro Kiriyama came close to matching in just 1 day. So what's the difference? First, the stocking of blueback herring by striper fishermen in the mid-90s. Then the additional stocking of alewives by the North Carolina Department of Wildlife Resources. Each of those created the bottom rung of a severely hurting food chain. And to eat all that new food, bass anglers got in on the act in the 90s also by bringing in spotted bass, which incidentally have accounted for 30% of the fish weighed in at this tournament.
One spotted bass.
The Bass Insider has been brought to you by Citgo.
Heading into the final lap, the race toward the finish line, and what a race we've got here. Greg Hackney here in 4th place, but look, he's only 3.5 pounds behind our leader, Jason Quinn. That's what, maybe a fish.
Come on, trolling motor. Go, 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 go. Oh, yeah. That's a good fish, too. Stay hooked up, baby. Stay hooked up. Stay hooked up. Stay hooked up. Oh, he's moving right. Get in there. Look at there.
Greg Hackney will pull with this fish. That will move him into a tie for 2nd place.
And what a race we have here. And I know what you're thinking. Why didn't he just get out on the dock and land that fish? But that is totally against the rules. And something else, these guys can't use nets. And that makes everything even a little bit more difficult. And catching your limit is so important. It changes your whole attitude and really puts you in a position of catching a better fish and culling. And boy, Jason Quinn is hurting.
Well, right now fishing sucks. Figured they'd done pulled up there, but it ain't looking real good. I've seen a few fish up there sunning, but I hadn't caught nothing. I ain't had a bite since about 10 o'clock. I got dogs swimming and fighting, bass swimming everywhere and can't catch one. You know, to win one of these things, you gotta have everything go your way. You can't lose fish, break them off. And I've lost a few key fish every day.
We started this day, it was definitely Jason Quinn's to lose. Now it seems he's losing some confidence. And Greg Hackney, well, he probably doesn't know how close he is to the win.
I'm gonna have to get something a little bigger than that before that 100,000 comes into play. Right now, I'm working on points. I'm fishing for points right now. I keep thinking, man, I catch so many fish doing this. I keep thinking, you know, and I've caught 6-pounders doing this before, you know, and bigger, actually bigger than that, but.
This one's as big as it looks. Greg Hackney will be putting himself in a position to pick up the win here.
Just one more there. Oh, yeah. Don't you come off. Please don't come off. Oh, don't come off. Oh, that's a good one.
Said it earlier, Jerry. Greg Hackney can do numbers. He can catch numbers, and catching numbers has got him within a ½ pound of the lead. The time is just about gone. In fact, about 1 cast left for Edwin Evers.
Oh, no, not that 1 cast thing again, Tommy. I've seen that happen once or twice this year already. Surely that could not happen again, could it? Here's a young man that could still make a big noise.
Look at that one. Oh, be a big one. Be a big, oh, yes. Stay on there. Come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah! Woo! Man. Son.
4 days of fishing, and believe it or not, Evers is now in a 3-way tie for the lead. No time left on the clock.
Get ready, we're leaving.
It has been the year of the big fish on the last cast. Incredibly, Edwin Evers has done it again.
It's not over, though, Tommy. It is not over. He has to start it a little sooner than Jason because he's farther away. Jason could still break this three-way tie.
Oh, what they're doing. She hit it as soon as I throwed it in there. Well, the last cast of the day. Pulled up here, need one more bite, get it about twice. Missed her both times. Unbelievable.
Don't count him out. He's still got a shot at it. But Jason Quinn, with only 4 fish on this day, he knew he had to have 5. May have missed his chance at his first Bassmaster title.
Well, we gotta go. Gotta go.
Well, this one is far from over. For this tournament, the weigh-in is going to be everything. That's coming up when we return.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Purelator and in part by Triton Boats, Motor Guide, and by Lowrance.
At the start of today's final on Lake Norman, who wouldn't have thought it was Jason Quinn's day? He had the knowledge, the years of experience on the lake. He had the hometown support. And most importantly, he had the lead in tough fishing conditions. But by the end of the day, he didn't have a lead.
Number 2 anyway.
Edwin Evers kept his momentum going from day 3 and capped it off by catching his biggest fish on the last cast.
Stay on there.
Greg Hackney had worked hard to get to this final day, and he'd fished hard to stay in the thick of it. And Rick Clunn, probably the best final day of all, but had he started with too much ground to make up. Jason Quinn would weigh in last, meaning he had the longest wait with a high pain factor.
You know, I guess when it's your turn, it's your turn. When it's not, it's not. But I'm getting a little discouraged at this.
Let's hook it up for Ish Munro. Said he was swinging for the fences today with nothing to lose.
Ish Munro up first. He'll finish 6th. You'll remember his unfortunate turning point today.
I had one little mistake today. I broke off the fish that's gonna, definitely move me up a couple places. It was a real big one. I fished this brush pile probably 3 times, and finally I caught a short, and the next cast I throw in there, and he lays into me, and I lay into him, and he just goes the other way, and he's gone.
Now, Rick Clunn.
The legendary Zen master of bass fishing, Rick Clunn. It's all about the fun, 12 pounds and 5 ounces.
12-5, and Clunn is in the lead.
My son and my wife wrote on a card to me, "Remember who you are." I think it's actually a line from the movie Lion King, and I think sometimes that's really what I had to do. I didn't even have trophies up. I don't put trophies up in my house. She made me put the trophies up. She said, "You've forgotten who you are." She said, "I'm gonna put your trophies up, and I'm gonna make you look at them every day for a while." And she said, "You got to remember who you are." So hopefully, I'm starting to do that again.
Greg Hackney knows that whatever the outcome today, he's back on track in a big way.
I'm fishing a little better now. Seemed like I got more laid back. First of the year, I was kind of in an uproar about a lot of things. I had a lot of things on my mind, and it seems like now I've just kind of forgot about all that other stuff and just going back to fishing now.
Hackney can't unseat Rick Clunn. He'll finish up in 4th. Edwin Evers has maybe mixed feelings about prevailing over one of his heroes.
I couldn't think to lose to a better person, and, it'd be awful nice to beat Mr. Clunn himself.
He knows he's got a legitimate shot at 9-2 or better, but he's not satisfied till they're on the scales.
10 pounds, 3 ounces, and Edwin Evers back to the top of the leaderboard.
He's right where he needs to be with 2 more hurdles left. Both Evers and Quinn can breathe a touch easier after Kiriyama shows only 2 fish and falls to 5th. Well, now Jason can be certain if he'd only got that 5th fish, he'd have his first win. As it is, he only needs 7-6. Evers is ready for a little redemption after falling short the final day at Guntersville a month ago. Jason is up.
712, the number you're looking for. Hit it, Trip. 6 pounds and 14 ounces.
And he's 13 ounces short.
Your Lake Norman Citgo Bassmaster Tournament champion.
Edwin Evers gets his 3rd Bassmaster win, 2nd on the tour, and takes a step closer to the Angler of the Year title. And another step into the next echelon of pro anglers.
Edwin Evers out of Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. The Oklahoma kid got it done. Edwin Evers, I've heard him make the statement, "I want to be a household name amongst the bass fishing world." Well, He's not the kind that jumps around in the boat and screams and goes crazy. Not his style.
No.
So he just figures he'll win his way to that honor.
He's doing it too, and winning 2 tour events, that puts him in a little bit higher group of fishermen right there.
Have you ever counted how many guys have won 2? Not very many.
Not that many. It's a pretty important group, I got to tell you. Speaking of an important group, the group that is going for the Citgo Angler of the Year award. That race gets tighter and tighter. We mentioned Marty Stone takes over the lead on day 3 of this tournament. Some other shuffling as well. We got Edwin Evers there, just 12 points back. It's anybody's race at this time. Could even belong, when it's all said and done, to guys like George Cochran or Rick Clunn. We got a super Angler of the Year race. It's more important than ever before. It's worth $100,000 now.
And these guys just... telling you again, their careers are on the line.
Oh, it's so important, so important. Other important things, the Toyota Horizon Award. Now on top of that race, Ohio's Frank Scalish. He is just 15 positions ahead of Jay Kendrick, so that could swap around as well. And our Purelator Big Bass of the tournament, Dave Wallach. It only took a 5-pound, 12-ouncer to win that award at this tournament. Big tournament coming up next time.
Really?
Yeah.
Table Rock?
Table Rock is going to be huge.
Hey, you want my predictions?
Yeah, have at it.
Cold weather.
Cold weather, all right.
You
Get
handle
out
that?
there, yeah. I got a coat.
And I predict really good fishing for about 25 guys.
Oh, man, oh,
which
man.
will, in turn, mix up your races. They're going to mess your races up so bad. Not a lot of big fish, but a few. But, boy, the races and the finales, no one wants to miss.
Absolutely. Don't miss this one. We're going to find out who those 25 guys are next time on the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament 3.
Oh! Oh!
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to Bassmaster.com.
Yeah! Edwin Evers, your Citgo Bassmaster